Hawaii joined as the 50th state in 1959. Its placement in the Pacific Ocean and its native and immigrant populations have created a distinct culture and a unique language.
Hawaii is kind of like its own little world. Like, it's a very different place. I'm from California, so California in itself is a melting pot, and it felt like Hawaii was a smaller melting pot with a different dominating culture. So in California, I mean, the normal sort of American way of coastal living, that's the dominant culture. But in Hawaii, it's their native culture is, that's what exists. There's the Hawaiian way, and then you have people from all over, different Polynesian cultures. You have Samoans, Tongans who've also come to Hawaii. You have Filipinos, you've got Japanese, Chinese, Korean, and then you have what we call the haoles. I'm sure you've heard that term before in your
term. White people, right?
So we have people from all over coming together, but it's more the Eastern cultures than the Western cultures. So yeah, it's a different cross section. The language wouldn't cater to Westerners either. I remember the first day I got there, my sister and I went into town, like literally just to like go to Walmart to like pick up basic home goods. And I just remember getting off the bus and none of the signs were in English. Like everything was in Japanese, Korean, Tagalog, Hawaiian. I couldn't pronounce anything yet, so it was kind of like, I feel like I'm in a different country, but if you stop somebody on the street, you might be able to get some English out of them. But I did meet a lot of... Yeah, it definitely was a pleasant culture shock, though, because the way that people live there is so warm and welcoming. It's that sense of aloha and ohana of family that you don't really get in other parts of the United States. Everybody just calling you sister, brother, auntie, uncle, cousins. Everybody there becomes your family, even if you just met them 5 minutes ago, at the bus stop.
Oahu is the official, the busiest. A lot of trades go in and out of Honolulu. It's a port of entry for a lot of immigrants. It's one of the more, I guess, advanced islands because we're able to get a lot of the, shipments. Big box, stores would rather start a store there than go to the smaller islands. The smaller islands like Molokai, Kauai, Maui, they're a lot more, they're a lot more like backcountry where they're a lot more laid back. A lot of the native Hawaiians tend to live in those other islands. But everything there is just, there's never any rush too. Like
the concept of island time is real?
Yes, exactly.
Yeah,
island time, it really does exist. And it's just like, if you grew up in, in the mainland where, there's some urgency and so there it's like, no worries. There's racism there in Hawaii. It's the opposite of where here it's just like, against black people or whatever, or Asian or whatever they have racism towards. But there it's racism towards white people. Like, I would hear people say, don't go out with so-and-so. He's haole, and haole is a term for white people. Which
really?
Is, yes, haole. Haule's the term. And
like a bad term.
They do. They don't. Originally, the word didn't come from a bad place. It means foreigner. It means foreigner. But it's in the Pigeon language, in the local language, it's considered, he's an outsider. Don't go out with him.
Hi, my name is Melody. I'm a PhD student in linguistics at the University of Hawaii at Manoa. My main focus of interest is language endangerment and multilingual education. And I teach a writing course here at the university, and most of my students are local, often freshmen, who are just now navigating the transition from high school into college. And so I get to see a lot of sort of lingering effects of what their education was like in high school. And one of the most important things that we come up against is Pigeon and English. So Hawaii is home to two indigenous languages, the Hawaiian language, of course, and then what is linguistically known as Hawaii Creole English, but what is colloquially called Pigeon. A Creole is the result of the contact of many languages sort of becoming regular and stabilized and then being learned as a first language by many people and used in many different domains. So that's what a Creole is, and Pigeon is most certainly a Creole. It is learned as a first language by a large percentage of the population. It's distinctly different than English. It has a different grammar structure and way different vocabulary. Even the intonation of questions and statements is different than English. So it's very easy to look at Pigeon and say, oh yeah, this is definitely not just a dialect of English.
Pigeon is the language that was created in the plantations. There were not too many Hawaiians working at the plantation, but a lot of the languages that came were also Hawaiian words that were included, and Pigeon is the language that everyone combined each of those words to be able to understand with each other.
It's like a Creole language. It started in Hawaii when the plantation workers came to work the plantations, the sugar cane or pineapple fields. They have a common language common way that they can communicate with each other.
Pigeon is I guess it's not, I don't even know if it's an official language, but it is for Hawaii. They didn't really get, proper education, and they didn't really speak English. In fact, they didn't speak any English. But they're thrown together in the plantation. They were forced to work together, so they had to come up with a way to communicate, and that's when Pigeon language, came to be. It's a bunch of different broken English put together.
But it's more than just that. It's not like we just broke the English, okay? Get plenty words from other language.
So there's this idea that Pigeon is heavier in some areas. If you gave somebody a map of Oahu and said, where on Oahu is the heaviest Pigeon, they would probably point to Waianae or Makaha, areas that are traditionally more rural and more indigenous Hawaiian, and they'd say, oh yeah, here's where Pigeon is the heaviest. And then you say, okay, well, where is there no Pigeon? Where is just good English? And probably they would say things like Hawaii Kai or Kailua, which are places that are sort of traditionally known for being full of white people.
Nowadays, it's a slang for the kids. The Pigeon is a lot more predominant on the neighbor islands, on Maui, on Kauai, on Hawaii. And it's a lot more predominant on the outskirts or the country on Oahu. And the future of Pigeon, I think, will continue because we always have immigrants who are constantly coming here, and learning the broken language is a lot easier than the formal English. It's not just a English dialect. It's actually a mishmash of all these different cultures and ethnicities. And I think it's very unique because you use Japanese words, Filipino words, Chinese words, and it's just spoken normally.
But I would say the lower your economic background, the more you're gonna speak Pigeon English. It'll always be here because if you have, it's part of the culture.
I normally speak this way since I work on campus, but when I go to the Big Island, my Pigeon is a lot thicker and stronger because then they can understand me better. When I first came here as a freshman at the University of Hawaii at Manoa, and I thought I was speaking good English. And whenever I spoke to her, she would ask me, "What did you say?" I didn't understand that. So things like I'm finished or I'm done, we say I'm pow. So I'm pow for the day, I'm going home. Yesterday I went for cut my hair, which means yesterday I went to cut my hair. Yesterday I went for cut my hair and was the line was so long, I had to wait so long, and had choke people, which means there were a lot of people.
As an example, if you were going to ask someone, where are you, you want to find out where they're at physically, in a Pigeon language, they would say something like, where you stay. Mm-hmm. In the middle of that, they also thrown in Hawaiian into the mixture. Actual Hawaiian language. Something like, a lot of little words like food. In Pigeon language, it would be called cow cow.
Mm-hmm. For example, you're going to say, "Oh, Timmy, would you please be a good boy and take a bath and go to bed, son?" Or how about, "Hey, boy, go out and more already. Which one the boy gonna listen to? I don't know about you, but my kid's hot head. I gotta act like I'm going to lick him for make him listen." And when you use other words like that, and no translate, you can see I'm more fast, more better efficiency.
My mother remarried when I was 10, and we moved to Hawaii from Philippines, and I lived there for 18 years. I started my 4th grade year there. I remember I thought when they started speaking to me, because they're like, "Oh, new girl, from Philippines," and they started talking to me, I couldn't understand any of them. I couldn't. I thought they spoke too fast, and they had a lot of slangs.
So there's this idea that you can move in between heavy Pigeon, light Pigeon, and then English, but what my students don't often realize is that their English is not the same as what they hear on CNN, and they try so hard to make it like that. What I find in my writing class is that students have never really figured that out, and no one's ever come out and told them, and so they grow up with this idea that whatever they're doing is non-standard and therefore bad. And so I get comments from students who English or Pigeon is their first language, and they say things like, "Well, I can't speak English. My English isn't good. I have bad grammar." I'm like, well, let's explore, some of the reasons. And what they often find is that, no, their grammar's just fine. It's perfectly regular. It's just different than what they think of as standard English. And so they try so hard to reach whatever the standard is, and it often results in this sort of hilariously overshot thing that comes out sounding like, in class we call it Fakespeare. Students are trying really hard to sound like they speak good English, and it comes out so stilted and awkward that it's like they're pretending that they're writing Shakespeare.
Okay, last week my English teacher would tell us our assignment due this week is for write one paper and make them on something creative. So I never know what to write about, and I was trying to write about all this random stuff like, oh, how to write this, how to do that, like how to be like this, and then I was like, shoots, I just go write on paper how to speak Pigeon. And then I started proofreading like that, you get the rough draft, started proofreading, and I was like, no way she gonna understand this. She's just gonna think, oh, this girl, she don't know how to spell, yeah, she don't know how to write. So I thought maybe I go turn in the paper, they gonna make one video put them on the internet like that, and then maybe when she hear them talk, when she hear me speak them, then she gonna understand, maybe if the other kids in class hear them, maybe they understand, maybe they just hate me even more. I don't know. It's like opposite kill holiday. Yeah, they kill a Hawaiian, but it's still one of those things that more better I show you. Maybe asking yourself, how come people talk like that? Why they don't speak good like us? And for real, it's not like we no can. If can. But most of the time, what better meaning come from speaking Pigeon? Choke it, lost in translation like that. But the point is, Pigeon is not just for dummies, okay? Like all you all you people in the mainland think it is. It's stay one language strong in mana, get choke aloha, and deep family roots. It brings us closer together and make us understand each other more better, And isn't that the meaning of the kind, life, To love one another, understand each other, get along. So I guess Auntie never teach you nothing about how to speak. Maybe Auntie would at least teach you why we talk like this. And that's the first step for learning, right? Is knowing how come. So you still like learn how to talk? Well, come, I take care of you, ikomo mai. The only way for you to learn is to come to Hawaii and experience aloha firsthand.